Well guys, believe it or not, this is one of my problem areas in the yard. I know that sable's doing well, and thank goodness it is, but everything else struggles here. There was a very large tree on the other side that just sucked the life out of this, but this part of my yard is actually elevated. Behind the fence, there's about a 4-foot drop on either side. There's a retaining wall, and there are drainage pipes underneath, and so it quickly evacuates the water, especially from close to the fence. In my lawn, not as much, but over here, definitely a lot more. When I first kind of started developing this bed, I amended heavily, and even still, I have a hard time. I have irrigation in here, so I like to have a lot of color in my yard, because when you have all these kind of big broadleaf evergreens and things like that, all these kind of jungly plants, they're all green. So you really want to try and bring in some color. So one of the ways I do that is I buy annuals. Annuals bloom all year long. They're cheap. You can change them out from year to year, but I've really struggled even with the drought kind of tolerant annuals. So what I've done is I've come in and I've planted a couple of things that will flower for a very long time. These are more Mediterranean plants. You can see that it's a Mexican orange, and I think that one is Goldfinger. That's a very uncommon one, and that thing, believe it or not, is about 4 or 5 years old. So if that's struggling, it kind of tells you. So what I've put in is coneflower. I have them kind of on either side, and this one's called the Sombrero Salsa Red. So a real kind of hot color. Sometimes I'll throw geraniums over here, sometimes sun patience, but it's quite dry. So if I take good care of this the first year, it should reward me in following years. And they do hold on to their flowers quite a long time. The bees like them. So we're going to see how it looks. Hardy to zone 4. You know, this is an echinacea hybrid. Likes full sun, obviously well draining soil. But I think that these are actually, I'm going to change that. I think that these can actually grow in clay pretty well. About 20 inches high and about roughly 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide. So that should develop nicely. It will appreciate the hot afternoon sun, and we're going to see how it goes. If I don't like it, I can always change it. And then to go with that, I have thrown in another ice plant, and so this is Delosperma, and it's called Jewel of Desert Ruby. And I'm sure many of you know these plants. They're pretty cool. They're a succulent. Some of them do change. They get a bit of color in their during winter when it gets cold, but they should thrive here in this kind of poor, lean, dry soil. They do form mats. I find they get quite big within a couple of years. Hardy to zone 6, full sun, but just a few inches tall, and that thing there will, they say 24 inches around. I guess that's about right. They might get bigger. I've had some pretty huge ones over the years, but I decided to throw in this some succulent type of plants to see how they do. And back there is my poor Potluck Salvia. One of them took a bit of a beating this winter, but it's coming back. And to go with the Mediterranean plantings is the Mexican orange, the Choicea, and that is shoot, I can't think of the name of it right now. It's thorny and it gets orange berries. And it is a broadleaf evergreen. It is from the Mediterranean. So Pyracantha. So that is a type of Pyracantha, and I've put that in there because the soil is quite lean and dry. So the first year it suffered. I babied it, it suffered, but now it's really coming on this year. So that's what you got to do in these problem areas. It's kind of funny because a lot of my backyard is quite wet, but in this kind of whole fence line here, in the summer, it's just bone dry. So you need tough plants that can handle that. That's what I've been doing. You can see back there my ground cover. That is Hypericum, and that is quite a drought tolerant ground cover. I thought I had gotten it all out of here, and it's come back with a vengeance this last year. So that will also produce nice yellow flowers. It is actually a nice ground cover, so I'm going to let that spread, but I had to clear it away for the new plants. There's one more coneflower and one more of those ice plants. I do kind of have a bit of a symmetrical look going on here with the plants. You can see the sable is the front and center, and everything else is kind of symmetrical based off of that. So there you go, just putting in some Mediterranean style drought tolerant plants for a problem spot in my yard. My front yard is mostly composed of these plants, and that's why back here I was trying to go with more of a jungle theme, but some spots it's just not going to work. It takes time to develop it. But anyway, thanks for watching.